Hi folks, close as I can get to showing you the palette and the sheet of paper. This is Saunders Waterford, £90. I'll give it a wet. Been down the Wandle again today, my local river. It's the third time I've done the ride since last Tuesday. So now, for all you septuagenarians, as indeed I am, no reason not to keep fit. If you can do it, you know what they say, if you don't use it, you lose it. Just give that a bit of let that soak in a bit. I'm going to do a similar one to the one I did Saturday, or Sunday, I can't remember, which didn't notice much social distancing on the ride this morning, with pedestrians out for their group walks. Look at that. I hit a log sticking out through a metal fence. I saw it on the way down. It had been cut off, but it was still sticking out about a foot, disguised by leaves, and I forgot all about it on the way back. Straight into my wrist. Whack. See, it's going to be bruised. So my pal said, sue the council here, but I couldn't do that. Now, I'm going to use black instead of the Payne's grey. Let's see how we get it. So I want to do quite a few greens in this. Now I don't know if this is still usable. Yeah, it is. I've still got two. Oh, I've got a tube of it here. I've got 3 tubes of this, 200ml tubes. They were very cheap at Wilco's, who sadly don't have any art materials now worth talking about. Neither has my local Grange, unless they've relented and instated the old art quality thing that they had, which was very comprehensive for general use. And I bought lots of paint there, but alas, I have to do it all online now. There is a shop in Sutton nearby, or a train ride or a bike ride away, but I don't know. Right, now what we've got is, I'll show you on my phone because I took a photograph of it today. Sign in. Gallery. It's probably a screensaver, but it's not coming out as well. Let's see if I can just brighten it up a bit. Right, so settings, brightness, display, brightness. It's probably in a save and move. Right, okay, that's it. Right, let's go back to that photo. That's better. So I've got this on the my laptop screen. I'm going to do it again. The tree on the right was the interesting one, and the foreground, well, I'm going to do a sky first. So we'll have, wow, some a bit blue, black. Alright, okay. We'll put, well, we'll have a bit of blue now. Right, that's about what we saw this morning. I won't put any creamy colours in. Maybe a bit down the bottom, just a touch of red. Now I've had this paint on my palette for for 3 days now. Okay, well there we are. I'm going to dry it off now, and I put in a bit of foreground before we start putting the trees in. So at the moment it's a watercolour. Do a bit of watercolouring, just, oh, that's quite stiff. Now that is perfectly flat, still a bit damp, but I'm going to work in here for a little while, do a bit of texturing. So we'll put in, I'll invent the landscape. I don't want to do that, but I want to just put in some, let's try black and yellow. Bit of warm. Okay, now that's a start. So it's, for all intents and purposes, that is a wetlands. Right, now I'm going to use a rigger. No, I'll use one of these sables and put in these oak trees, or whatever they are. So we'll have now these are distant trees, so we'll I think I'll do some shading on there to give an idea of a canopy. I'll put some ivy up there. Right, put another one in. So we've got 2 trees here, and go right up into that canopy, which I'll etch on. It's not quite dry yet. Those are branches, they're all coming over. Okay, that'll do for a moment. We've got to go over that. And we've got a bit of a It's got a bit of blue, bit of black, bit of yellow. And we'll there's a sort of pine tree. And a lot of it is merged in with some yellowy, autumny colours. Right, that's probably a bit bigger than that. Okay, we'll put a load of yellow in here, and then we'll, don't do too much, I'll put more of a yellowy one over here. Bit of dark in there. No, that's just black and yellow. And in between we've got all sorts of colours. So just black and no green. We can put some oranges and on the leaves. We'll have some rigger strokes coming out of that. When acrylic dries, it's waterproof, so you can paint over it without worrying about disturbing what's underneath. These are just the skeletons. Some up here. Right, okay, now we're going to do a bit of we're going to dry that, so headphones off. Right, let's, where's my sable? There's my sable. Going to get a bit of, oh, I had a bit of burnt umber on there. Right, squeeze out a bit more. Right, now we've got to create that illusion of a lot of light colour, bluey. Could do a bit more rigger work in there. Put some at the front. So hopefully that, when I put a bit of rigger stuff in it, that will stand for all those hundreds of twigs that you get very weak. Put a bit of blue in there. So this is going to be a watercolour and sponge painting. We're going to do the sponges in a minute. See, now that won't run because that's dry. And then let the fun begin. Okay. Sponge. Little sponge. We're bunging loads of green, I think. Well, maybe we could just put a bit of texture with a hake to begin with. A bit of red in there. See, whatever you put on, you're going to cover up, and provided the paper's dry, the paint you put on will be opaque, so it will colour. Now, don't worry about the mess that it is at the moment. That's all going to get covered up. Right, let's give it a dry. Headphones off. I have got some burnt sienna which I shall put in. Whoops. Now at this stage I don't really like acrylic, but it's when we start to add some colour. Let's get some of the pale yellow as well. Okay, so let's get a bit of red and a bit of yellow, a touch of black, touch. I first saw this, as you know, if you've been following me, from Terry Harrison, who sadly died a year ago. Now we want some dark green in the base of that. Get some darks, remember lights against dark. Bit of red with that, I think. Right, now let's have a bit of sap green in there now. Now let's get some really light ochre in on the tops of some of this. Right, well let's leave that for a minute. We'll get some yellow and some black. And a bit of ivy. Don't like my tree there really, I might take that a little bit higher. Right, clean the sponge. I'm going to put a few leaves on those trees. Probably this is where I'll probably ruin it. I'll get a bit of blue in here. Right, and we've got to lighten a lot of this up, but I want to get into some of this foreground now, so we can go a bit mad with that. So we have a nice dark along there, and a nice sort of a greeny, yellowy. some black in there. Bit of white. I think that's yellow. The white is kind of a little bit jellyish. Now when it's wet, it won't take a lot of mucking about. Well, okay, let's carry on with the green now. I'll give that a try, then it'll take more paint. I want to change the shape of that horizon. So to do that we'll have to darken the background there a bit. So let's have a bit of yellow. Right, now we'll go a bit darker. Have a bit of that black. Just mixing it dark. So another tree going up there. Oh, we want a nice orangey colour, so a bit of that cad red. So there were some brilliant bits that were sun shining on the leaves. Right, we'll go back into the texturing here now. While that dries off, alright, let's get some yellow in there, or yellow ochre. lights against dark all the time. I'll move the sun round. Haven't forgotten that bit. Now I need a bit of dark to go in there to counterchange this other bush. We call this the Wetlands. It's all grasses and it's been sort of hacked. So a bit of blue and a bit of black. Been trimmed. Okay, so we've got some nice counterchange there. Let's brighten up some of this now. Right, okay, so let's, very light green. So we use a bit of sap green, bit of yellow, bit of white. So when it dries, you can get the lighter colours on, a bit of white. We'll just create that illusion of detail when we're not putting much in, we're just using a sponge. But we've got to get that counter change, light against dark all the time. No good trying to get a light if you put it next to something lighter. Alright, so rough ground. Let's get some yellow ochre. Get this yellow out. Yeah, bunch. Lighter still, so let's get that. Get in there now with this light, colour, get that counter change going. Right, okay. we'll get some dark, or get some mauvey shadow in there. Right, I think they're a bit lighter in the foreground still. They're all very subtle. I like that blue and red. There's some of that mauvey colour in here. It's a good shadow colour. Right, now put the sponge in there, and we'll put a bit of that. Oh, there's some ultramarine now. Ultra. Right, blue, bit of yellow. Bit of a budge. Needs a bit of light and a little bit of sky colour in it. I think the white has had it. No. It's a little bit out of character with the rest of it, isn't it? So we'll just let that dry a bit. Foreground I'm quite pleased with now. We'll put more light back in here, it's going to dry. The foreground looks like a foreground, I think. take that tone down a bit. Get an ochre. Bit of white. Well, I'll put a bit of a ivy colour on in here. Ah, it should be green, shouldn't it? Light green, very light green. Right. Bit more light in there. I don't think I'm going to do much more to this. It's very different. You can treat acrylic as watercolour. You don't have to do the sponging. I'm just doing it as an exercise. Bit of white. Right, okay, let's put that in a mount. I don't know what I'll do tomorrow. I'll do one for Patreon and one for you before I go back to oil painting. Let's just move that. Mount. I think we probably could strengthen up a bit of these. It's just a little bit obvious. That's to be some more, a bit of air in there. Little bits of light coming through. I'll give you a signature. I think the work I put in it, Tim Arthur's signature. Okay, well I hope you like that one. Maybe I should strengthen up these trees, shouldn't I? You never finish the painting, you know. It's just warm them up a bit. Just. Oh, don't know that. I'll put a bit of ivy in there. Right, it's a bit of ivy, bit of green, bit of yellow, bit of blue. Oh, I've got to mix it up, haven't I? Right, I'll just dry that off, that bit there, and put in some trunks or something. Should have left that alone, shouldn't I? That's back with that green, sap green, bit of yellow. Darken that green up a little bit. That was better without before I mucked about, wasn't it? Just get a bit of light through there. Right, I'm afraid I'm going to have to let that go, I think. I'm going to put a little bit of... I'm going to scrap this palette when I finish here because it's done enough work. Oh, you... There we go. Well, you have to give me that. I'll put it back in the mount, clean my brush. Must be scrupulously clean with your brushes. Okay, right. Well, there we are. Well, it is not a bad job, is it? I tried to sort of show light against dark, but we've got a bit of a mess there, a bit of a mess there. But I don't think I want to do any more to it than that. Just put that to one side a minute. Right, there we are. Another one from the Wetlands. They are pretty wet, but all the grasses you can't see. But at various times of the year, they do flood the wetlands, not to any great extent. But the water table of the Wandle Valley is very, very high here. We're on the water table. And that's why Mordenhall Park and Burton Abbey have got wonderful waterways. It's not a big river or anything. It's it's a Surrey chalk stream. That's its designation, and there are only 200 of them in the world. And there we are. I love going down the Bulbul, taking these photographs, and just working up a picture from them. Hope you like it, folks. See you soon. Bye bye.